let's get started. There's something on fire over here. Let's look out this side. Ooh, our plane has crashed. Let's get a better view. It looks terrible. That plane's on fire. Maybe that is the way to go. Let's go. We used a paint tool to paint trees on the terrain here. We had our choice of several different trees we could have chosen. Most of our choices were made for aesthetic reasons. We're going to walk through all this stuff. At the moment, we're avoiding the zombies. If we get close to one or two, we'll see why. Oh, one's coming after us. We'll just get out of range and he'll stop coming after us. Get away from him, he can stop coming after us. Oh, that thing is terrifying. Let's go this way. Another monster here. Go and explore the room in here. Maybe we can... He does move when the player moves, but not in predictable ways. Not predictable for the player, that is. We'll go in here. We had a message written by someone who survived. We'll come back, activate this radio with my E key, and it seems a helicopter is coming to rescue us. But additionally, every zombie is now following us once the helicopter finds us. So we gotta get out of here. But before we do, maybe we should see what happens if the zombie catches us. Oh, we restarted. The health bar at the top right went to 0 very quickly. For every frame that we're near the zombie, we'll lose 1 health. We have 1,000 health. And we failed, so we start again. Let's go explore the right side. Oh, there's some tumbling zombies. We do see aberrations coming after us as we collect them, because we ran by them actually. They're in this forest here. Here's our ride here. Our ride is still here. We're making our escape now. We can get on the helicopter. When we get on the helicopter, it takes over, and we can watch out the side of the helicopter. I believe we can still see zombies. Yep, they are still chasing us. You can see them on the lower right there. Very exciting. Let's move on. Alright, I just want to go over the code just a little bit. I wanted to show this is the script we have attached to the light on the helicopter. All it does is rotate at a speed dictated by the frame rate, so it doesn't spin uncontrollably. Here's the helicopter. The helicopter starts off screen, and then when summoned by the evacuation beginning, comes on screen while playing a sound. It uses a switch statement to follow these game objects before and after picking up the player. And it's the object that it's the script that controls which camera we see. We only switch the camera once, but this is where we do it. You'll see it'll notice whether the evacuation has started or not, and then it'll play a sound if it hasn't or not. I mean, it'll play a sound if it hasn't already. The evacuation order then just is a switch statement. It follows each game object target by rotating toward it and then moving toward it, or rather looking at it and then moving toward it. By the end, it just waits, sets its speed slower so it doesn't zoom in. We have it zoom in at the moment, but I think part of the fun is having it not zoom in and having to wait out the zombies. And when it reaches the last spot, we're just going to stand and look at nothing. And the player gets to look out the side of the helicopter too. Here's how the player looks at stuff. If we're not in the final part, meaning we haven't switched to the last camera and we're not frozen onto the helicopter, we are able to draw a ray from the center of the camera, which is the center of the screen, to 2 meters out, grab what we hit, take the transform of what we hit, if we also put the key code E in, if we're also pressed E. Then we'll play the helicopter sound, or rather, we're touching the radio. The radio is the selectable tag, so it's going to play the radio sound, and then it'll start the evacuation. Let's take a look at that. Start the evacuation. It's a very simple script. This just runs on a game object freely someplace else, but whenever you start the evacuation, it just sets this not quite global, but this Boolean to true, and everybody else knows that the evacuation is on. Back to the player look. Oh, I guess that's all that happens. We just start the evacuation if you activate the radio. We activate the radio by looking at it, having it 2 meters away, and pressing E, and having the radio be selectable. Nice. We have a health bar. It can fill up with a color, with a couple of different color, 3 or 4, many colors if you'd like, and have it fade or not fade, or just be discrete between them. At the moment, we have it fade from green to green. And we have the slider set for the health bar here. On the player script, we have the actual health bar, where we'll set it, or rather we have a reference to the health bar. We'll set it at maximum health. At the moment it's 1,000. If we take damage, this function's called, where it just changes the current health function in the health bar. The health bar is where the health lives. So it changes the function, it changes this value in there by doing that to it. If our health happens to drop below 0, then we'll just restart the scene. But you're back up into the plane falling from the sky. Here's a script the zombies follow. We have some variables for their attack speeds, their follow, their distance, just things they'll need. They'll need to reference the actual player so they can test whether they're near them or not. They'll need to reference the player's bar because the zombies are the ones that are doing the damage. And then the player transform an animator because we got to be able to detect the player's transform. I think that's just a little shorthand. And then we have to reference the zombies animator. Nice. Here's just a little just in case you forgot to set something in inspector. We'll get the transforms. We'll set those parameters to something that fits the scene. If we're not in evacuation mode, the zombies can see us from 10 meters away and hurt us from 3, and they move that fast. But if we're in evacuation mode, they see us from anywhere. And that's super exciting. See us, what do you mean? I mean that you detect a distance between the person and the thing, and then you decide if that's far enough for them, close enough for the zombie to start following. If it's inside the follow distance, then yeah, it's going to move toward the player. It's going to tell the animator to start making a walking motion, and then, pardon me, and then he's just going to move toward it. He's going to move toward the player's transfer location position, and down a little bit so he doesn't like walk into my head. We had a little trouble getting him to stay on the ground, and we worked with a lot of the gravity and the rigid body. We couldn't quite get it exactly the way we like to. If we could do it over, I think we definitely get a little more work done with the terrain collider and keeping the avatars grounded. Here we have the take damage. We take 1 damage again for every frame that we are within the damage distance. We kind of have a damage zone here. If we could do it again, I might attach a severe collider to a hand and work off collisions, but that's just not the direction we went initially. If you are out of distance, if you fall out of distance of the zombie, then we'll set is walking to false. It'll stop. Not only will it not do this code, so it won't do this code, so the zombie won't move, and we'll tell the animator to stop making it look like they're moving.